Thank you. Welcome. Sorry guys, we are experiencing a little bit of a technicality. Is unfortunately I am sitting in the darkness, running on some generator power, probably brought to you by CT Auto Electrical, and that's because for some reason seems like my main DB board at my house has gone down. So I can't really get a camera up because it is too dark in the room. But I do have Ashley with me in the virtual commentary box. Ashley, how are you this evening? We are running a little bit behind time.
I'm very well, thank you, Dylan. Pardon?
We are running a little bit behind time this evening.
We are running a little bit behind time, but we're just waiting for the guys to get into the lobby. So not only you having some technical difficulties, some of the drivers also battling to join the lobby. So we're just waiting for them to also get those invitations in. And yeah, tonight we're coming from virtually live from Germany, and that's the Hockenheim GP circuit. So I think we're going to see some very interesting racing this evening. The forecast is set to rain. So just to make things even more interesting, we're going to have a bit of downfall pour later in the race. Dylan, have you managed to do some laps yet? I know you are pretty much keen for this race. Did you manage to get some practice this weekend?
So I actually did. Myself and Stephen had a little bit of time together, and we were able to get it all set up. And I think we'll be okay. Tire pressures are a problem, specifically when we're in the non-rain. But as soon as the rain comes, it does seem to just work itself out a little bit better.
No, excellent. And in the commentary box, we see Stephen has now joined us as well. Stephen, are you ready for this evening's race?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this.
All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you to it. I can get the stream up and ready, and all I can say is enjoy it, and we'll see you on the other side.
Good luck with you. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, so I was just saying to Dylan that we will see a bit of a wet track later in the race. Stephen, have you managed to do some laps around here?
Yes. I've been doing quite a few actually. So the overcast and wet weather, it's a bit of a tricky one. Because like Dylan says, the tire pressures is a little bit of an issue because your tire pressure actually cools off in the rain. So you got to find that in between while you're busy racing. Because you can't have your tires too hot and then you can't have your tires too cold, so you got to be very careful with that. But I think the boys are going to be quite quick here today, especially in Alpha. If we see a very low 137, I think the guys are going to be very quick in the dry, and then in the wet, like a high 138. Mid 139 race pace in the wet. So I think the guys are going to be quite quick here.
Okay,
Well, that's quite not much of a difference in the times there from the 37 to the 39 in the wet. So does it? Did you do a simulation? Did it rain towards the end of the race, or is it sort of midway?
It's around about like lap 7, lap 6. It's
okay. So the
rain
guys will
starts
have to change the tires and go onto the wet.
Yeah. So it's not going to be like a quick splash and dash with a wet setup. So you have to play. You have to find out, like I said, you have to find that in between. You can't just have a dry setup because when the rain comes down, you're going to find your car is completely different. So you got to find that in between happy to medium in the dry and the wet.
Yeah, so just to the viewers out there, so how we work it is that we give the users all the details before the race, so exactly how the race will be simulated in terms of the amount of laps, the weather forecasts, the dates, everything is given to the drivers before the race so that they can do a practice and see how the cars will handle in a situation. All that changes is that we have 16 more drivers or 15 more drivers on the track that you have to compete with, and that makes it a little bit more interesting. So we're looking forward to another fantastic night racing coming to you live from Hockenheim. We just waiting for the guys to put those thumbs up, and we are having a couple issues with a couple of guys unable to join. You can see there in the bottom left-hand corner, Marius, who's one of the championship leaders at the moment. He's battling to connect to the session, so we're just trying to get him into that session. Hopefully he'll be able to sort out his connection. What I would suggest to him is that he could just restart his router and CPE, and maybe that will assist there. But I do see now a couple of the guys have left, so it may be a case that we'll get the host to recreate the lobby and see if that maybe helps.
I've had to close the garage door, it's too loud. Hello?
I'm listening to you.
I've had to close that garage door, it's too loud for the neighbours.
Okay.
And it's an ESCOM fault. The wire things outside's blown or melted. So I've been on hold now trying to log the fault. He says he can't do it because there's like a seal on it, so he's not allowed to touch it.
It's good and fucked up.
So he says it's a fault in that box and they need to come and fix it. How long it's going to take, I don't know.
Well, they won't do it tonight.
No.
And you're going to be holding for nothing because there's no one going to react to it.
Yeah, but I can't log it tomorrow. I'm at work. I will meet you tomorrow. So I have to log it so that they can come with their lists. And the battery for this gate is going to die, so I'm going to have to let everyone know. They're going to have to put it on manual. Electric fence is also not working, and neither's the alarm.
Dylan, I hope you have enough fuel to run the rest of this stream. Because it sounds like you're not getting electricity anytime soon.
Yeah, wonderful ESCOM.
Beautiful. Possibly, yeah.
Well, it's not ESCOM's problem. It sounds like a cable fault. So maybe, then I can see everybody's now exiting the lobby. So that means that a new lobby has been created. So hopefully we'll get those invites soon. And then we can join the new lobby.
Oh, sorry guys, we had to just change because Morris was clashing with Chase.
Oh, nice.
This is when you should have hold music, Dylan, going in the background.
Yeah, man. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what are the cars going to be like, because I haven't been on the track with the majority of the guys, so yeah, I haven't seen what the Fords are like. I've only been in the Bills, so I only know what the Porsches are like in the rain. But yeah, it's going to be actually very interesting to see what the BMWs like in the rain.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be just interesting to see all the vehicles handling, and this is actually when you see the guys showing their true skills. Is actually when the conditions get a little bit more tricky.
Yeah, definitely.
Then you'll find that the smoother drivers do exceptionally well as they manage to control the car a little bit better.
Yeah, patience is the key.
Absolutely, and you probably find them trying different lines. I know from karting, you kind of stay off the racing line, because that's sort of where the slippery part on the track is, especially when it's wet. But I'm not too sure how wet the track's good. It sounds like
it gets pretty wet.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, seven laps into so the majority of the race would be a wet race.
Yeah, especially that first corner. Yeah, there's a puddle that forms on the first corner already, but that's like the only puddle that I've really noticed. But yeah, other than that, it's wet but drivable.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us, we just had a bit of a technical difficulty. First of all, Dylan's internet and power, should I say, has been hampered by electrical fault on the cable at his home, and unfortunately, he's had to revert to a generator, which was sponsored by Craig from CT Auto. So thank you so much to Craig for sorting that out and giving us the ability to bring you this stream live this evening while we're waiting for the guys just to put their thumbs up and let us know that they're ready to go. We're just waiting for a couple more guys just to join, and I see in the left-hand corner now the Horn Dog, he's battling to connect. So all sorts of gremlins in the system this evening, which is putting a halt on proceedings at the moment. But we do apologize, and hopefully we'll get the stream up and running as soon as possible. So, Stephen, the Hockenheim, is this one of your favorite tracks?
Yeah, Hockenheim is one of my favorites. Yeah, I prefer it in the dry. It gets quite quick, but yeah, the wet is just a little bit of a spice to it.
Yeah, I remember a Formula One race probably 2 or 3 years ago where suddenly they had a downpour in the middle of the race, and we just saw cars flying off left, right, and centre. I think Sebastian Vettel was actually leading the race at one point and managed to outbrake, miss a braking mark, and unfortunately put it straight into the wall. And that was a very sad day for him, because it just so happened to be his birthday. And so it was a terrible Grand Prix for him, going from leading from hero to zero within a matter of seconds. So and we did also saw not only him, but we saw the likes of Verstappen and Hamilton all picking up damage during the tricky conditions, as well as Valtteri Bottas, who was lucky to escape with a high-speed crash. So let's see how this race this evening is gonna turn out.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very tricky one. If anyone thought the Formula One was interesting, tonight's race is going to be even more interesting.
Yep. So the guys have put their thumbs up, and that means we are ready to go racing. And first up, a 10-minute, I think that's a 10-minute qualifying, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
We'll see a
10-minute
10-minute qualifying this evening from the guys, just to get in position. And I think the qualifying should be in the draw, so at least those quick lap times that you mentioned earlier, we'll start seeing them right at the beginning of the qualifying.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, qualifying is in the dry, so that is a great one to see the pace that the boys can put up. And then from there, it's so see who's the quickest. Is it the Ferrari? Is it the Ford? Or is it the BM or the Porsche? So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what the guys can do.
So on track, first up is the Scottish international Ross in the Ford GTE, and sporting those green and black colours there, followed by Peter Brunt in the background there in the red Ferrari. And I'm only seeing 10 guys on the track. I'm sure there were more that were joining, and I think because of the problems that we've been seeing, they just were unable to connect. And we see there Ross sweeping back, sweeping across the circuit, trying to get heat into those tyres, as well as the guys in the background, just trying to get those tyres up to temperature. That tells me that it's already overcast, and the temperature of the track is a lot lower than normal. So that's probably why they have just battling to get that heat into the tyres. So we now see Ross coming into the stadium section, and he'll be starting his flying lap very shortly. A nice stream of cars here, and a nice variety of cars. We've got Porsches, we've got BMWs, we've got the Ford GT. I just see it looks like I just want to check. I see there's exclamation mark next to Quicksilver's name, and I just wonder if he maybe had picked up the penalty. It doesn't look like it, so it may have just been that he was very close to one of the cars on track, and that's why they've picked up that there's some sort of infringement, or how can I say, a notification from the race feed.
Yeah, and also the track limits on this is also ludicrous. So if you just go that little bit too wide into the corner, you will get that time penalty.
So that could possibly be what that exclamation next to his name could be, that he has unfortunately gone over the track limits, so this lap would be, and the next lap would be non-avoid.
Yeah.
So Peter Brand getting very out of shape there. You can just see the back of that Ferrari. Doesn't look very comfortable.
Probably find that tyres are still cold.
Yeah, probably needs a little bit of time to just get those tyres up to scratch, up to temperature. Just want to go back to Ross out in the front at the moment and just see how that car is handling as he comes towards the start-finish line. We'll probably see the first time on the board from him there. And he crosses the line there, a 1:37.6. Then Marius with a 1:36.3, so a full second and almost a second and a half quicker. Then you see Durkee doing a 1 second there, slower than Marius with... they'll see someone in the background, looks like might have been Marius there.
Marius, yeah.
Who just was pushing a little bit too hard. But look at that time between Marius and Rockstar Mel. 59 milliseconds between the two.
Crazy. Jeez.
And that is a super close time from a good time from both those drivers. So we see Ross now trying to put down the hammer and put down the speed and trying to get that car up to a high position. And I see Quicksilver's trying to get a bit of a slip toe here from Jakes. We know how quick Jakes has been, so maybe just using Jakes as a little bit of a marker. And,
which is not a bad idea, that.
Yeah. But looks like Jakes has just let it go past there, and maybe not enjoying the sort of the pressure from behind. May have made a mistake there, and that's why he's aborted that lap. So Ross now goes into the pits. Comes out the pits, should I say. Puts a new set of tyres on, decides to try again. I'm just watching Dylan now. He's down in 8th place at the moment. Hasn't really set a good time just yet. Three and a bit seconds off the pace. And let's see if he can improve his time. He comes around into the stadium section. And these last couple of corners are really tricky. You really got to keep the momentum of the car and keep it nice and tidy. Try not hit those curves, because as you hit them, you can see how the car just jumps off. And he does manage to improve his time there. Moves himself up to 6th position with the 137.5, just a second and a bit off the leader at the moment. And looks like that's Rockstar Mel Jock now starting his next flying lap. See if he can improve that time. Hopefully for him, just needs to find a coconut hair to get past Marius here and see if to improve his time. Comes through the hairpin and then heads down the back into the fast left-hand sweeper. Sorry, right. My apologies. Right hand into a left and a right. And then coming towards the stadium section, yeah, looking really neat and tidy. As we see now, Jakes puts a quickest time of 136.3, so it goes even faster than Marius. And also not much in those times there, 47 milliseconds between those two drivers. So the top three separated by 1/10 of a second. As you see Marius now, Rockstar Mel crosses the line. He manages to improve his time and he goes quicker with a 136.3. So look at those times. It's unbelievable. The top three drivers there separated by less than 0.06 of a second.
That is crazy. Some crazy times here tonight. But let's see if Jason Morris can put something.
So now Morris in picture at the moment, yeah, and let's see if he can improve the time. Still a minute and a half left on the clock. He's waited right to the end. Perhaps wait until the track ramps up a bit. The track will evolve with the guys on doing some laps, laying down that rubber, and he's probably got a fresh set of tyres. He's got one more lap to try and put in a better lap than Rockstar Mel as he crosses the line to start his flying lap. Let's watch Morris as he takes the first corner here, looking nice and neat and tidy. Runs on the curb there. Ooh, gets out of shape a bit. But will he have lost too much time there? Let's see how he comes through this next section. Very neat and tidy. Tries to avoid the curb there not to unsettle the car. And now puts down the hammer. And it's flat out right to the end of the straight. Top gear top revs, top speed, as he comes into the hairpin, brakes hard for the hairpin, accelerates out, stays off the curb, and then it's a fast right-hander, flat out through this section. Then he will brake at that 50-meter mark, then turn in. Nice line there, nice and smooth. Car looking very stable. Let's see if he can get the next corner correct. He tucks in into the curb, he just touches that curb. And now into the stadium section. Good line there as he manages to control the car very well. Coming to the last bit in the stadium section. Just touches that curb. Nice flowing rhythm here that he has caught. And let's see if he manages to improve his time. He crosses the line. Yes, he managed to go faster. So a good result there. But it's not over yet. Let's just see. Oh, Rockstar Mel was pushing a little bit too hard there and hasn't managed to improve his time. So I think that's... Or looks like Durkee has finished the lap as well, so he won't improve. He qualifies down in 4th position. Only person on track is Robert at the moment. Let's see if Robert can maybe improve his time. Down in 9th position at the moment. He comes through the last 2 corners. Heads down the main straight, crosses the line. No, doesn't seem to improve. So there we have it. Morris taking the pole position there with a time of 1:35.6, followed by Rockstar Mel, then Jakes, then Quicksilver Durkee in 4th position, Scottish International Ross in 5th, Peter Brunt in 6th in that red Ferrari, Dylan managing a 7th place in that Porsche, Morris B in the GTE. That's the Ford GT down in 8th position, followed by Robert and Louis down in 10th. So a very close qualifying there between those top drivers there, doing really, really well.
Definitely, the times they are coconuts fast. It is.
You see, Rockstar Mel, that first section is actually much quicker. Got a 120, got a 21.2 there in the first sector.
I see that, yeah.
As well as Durkee was very close in the first sector. So in the second sector there between, so it looks like the first sector and the second sector, Rockstar Mel was quicker than Morris. And then just in that last sector is where Morris managed to pull 3/10 quicker and was able to take that pole position.
Yeah.
So the guys now lining up on the grid. And we're just waiting for the sync to take place, and that will signal the start of the race, or the countdown for the robots, or the traffic lights, or the lights, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. The first corner, it's going to be a break or nail it. So, yeah, and then it comes down to corner 2, where is a very sharp corner also. So you got to watch out that the guys don't have a bit of a slipstream behind you to take a bit of a dive on the second corner. But then, it comes you come through the S's, and then you come to another main straight, and then you're going to come to a very hard braking sharp hairpin. That's another overtaking spot there, and I can see a lot of cars trying to make a move there.
So I think we're going to see a manual rolling start, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the guys will get in position now. So it is a manual rolling start. So we do this just to avoid those first and second corner incidents, as Stephen was mentioning. It just sort of like calms the field a bit, and everybody gets into a more, I would say, a less aggressive start.
Definitely. Try and make it fair for everyone else, because everyone else is also putting time in practice. No use getting taken out in the first corner.
No, it definitely doesn't make it fun. Especially if you do quite well and you qualify up in front, and then you get a Valtteri Bottas taking the rest of the field out.
Yeah.
But I just found out today that he'll be moving to Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, definitely.
He's signed a couple-year contract with them, so at least that saves the front of the field from getting taken out. Although it's
well, now you have to watch out for the from the rear. So yeah, he's still in a spot to take you out.
No, I'm just teasing Valtteri.
Oh man.
So the guys just keeping those tyres, warming up those tyres, getting them ready for the start of the race. And the front leader now backing up the pack, and that's Marius out in front, who's now backing up the pack for the rest of the guys. As we see he crosses the line, he'll just wait for everybody to join, and as he crosses the line, he'll give the thumbs up, and away we go. So a good start there from Marius. It looks like Jakes was maybe just sleeping on the start there, and looks like he's dropped back a bit.
Yeah,
and a good clean start for most of the drivers. Looks like we see Peter Brunt there in the background, a little bit wide, but all in all, doesn't seem like anybody's touched anybody else. So a good start there by everyone. As we go down the back straight, there we see Dylan in shot at the moment. We see Marius going a very defensive line there. And Jakes managed to get a good slipstream, I think, on a Ford out in front of him at the moment, and looking very racing with Rockstar Mel. Let's see if he can make a move on the inside. Decides not to. Just backs off a little bit and waits. We see Durkee behind him as well, also keeping up with his front pack at the moment. Not much difference between the four drivers at the moment. Almost looks like the BMW seemed a little bit stronger in the first stage of this race.
Well, it is a home track for the BMWs, so there should be a home advantage for them.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, this should be, I would say, more of a Porsche track, but there we see somebody in the background, and it looked like
Dylan, it looks like Dole.
Got it all out of shape there, and has now parked on the. Actually, it doesn't look like he's managed to get that car. He has. He's managed to get the car going again. So I wonder how much damage he's picked up.
Yeah, it looks like he's picked up some suspension damage and a wing damage.
That looks like that car is not in a great shape whatsoever. He's going to have to try and make his way back to the pits, and it is a long way back to the pits from where he had that incident. So that's going to put him back already 30 seconds down. But let's shoot back to the front of this battle between Marius, Rockstar Mel, and Jakes. Marius seems to have opened up a little bit of a gap there now, a 1 second lead. But Rockstar Mel has sort of followed him in opening up a little gap between himself and Jakes as well. So a nice breather for both those drivers. Still lap 3, 22 laps in this race. As we see him come through the last section. And it almost looks like Jake is much quicker through the tighter section through the stadium. And manages to close that gap.
It looks like the BMs have actually got a decent little setup there. Because Jake is actually catching up there. I wonder if Rockstar Mall is just slowing down so he can have his teammates a little bit closer and rather finish a 2-3 there instead of a 2 and 4. Helps with the points also.
Yeah, quite possible playing the team game, between those two drivers. Or he's just not finding the pace that he was finding qualifying with the heavier load.
Yeah, could be. Unless he's got more of a wet setup with the car. So he's sacrificed a little bit on the dry. And probably find that his little Ford will perform a lot better in the wet.
Absolutely, quite possible. So we're on lap 4 at the moment, and out front still Marius with the lead of 1.4 seconds now, opening up their gap even further with Rockstar Mel in second place, followed closely by Jakes, then Quicksilver, Ross down in 5th position at the moment. When he goes a bit wide there, gets onto the curb. And Peter Brandt also doing really well, keeping up with this front pack, not letting them get out of sight. And doing really well in their Ferrari. Also one of my favorite cars to drive. I did take the Ford GTE when we did this similar season I think a year ago or 2 years ago, and taking the Ferrari was a lot more lively, I felt, and a very interesting car to drive. So I'm just looking at the timing screens here, and it looks like Rockstar Mel has picked up a 1 second penalty there for most likely track limits.
Yeah, well, it looks a bit, yeah.
So I just want to cut down to Dylan, and looks like he did manage to get back to the pits, and Wall has managed to find a bit of rhythm with the car. Although looking at time, there is 1 minute 57, almost 2 minutes down.
Yeah, so it looks like he actually had quite a bit of damage to that little Porsche. So, yeah. And it looks like Jakes is actually catching up here on Rockstar Mall. So I wonder what's going on there. Is he actually battling with a little bit heavier fuel load, or is Jakes actually just got a better setup right now?
I think it's just feeling the pressure from behind, and that's those two fighting has just allowed Marius to open up this gap even further. Now, just over 1.5 seconds there. You can just see that he's slowly edging away. And I think, like you mentioned, that on lap 7 or so the rain starts. So it's quite possible that the rain has maybe started, and the track is getting a little greasy.
Yeah, so it's going to come down to your tyre changes and putting those wets on. You'll actually see those times drop down a little bit, but it doesn't look like the rain has started yet.
No, that windscreen is still bone dry, so still no rain. I think he's just under pressure from Jakes. We see Jakes in the background there, running a bit wide. You can see just how close Jakes gets through this tight section. all over the back of Rockstar Mel.
Taking a little bit more curb than Rockstar Mall there.
You see how defensive Rockstar Mel goes there. He goes on the inside just to block that line. He knows how good Jakes is on the brakes. Just trying to block and go defensive on that second corner there.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like he's close enough to make a move right now. So I think it's still going to be a couple of laps before you see Jake's actually making a move.
Oh, there goes Rockstar Mel again. You can see every time he goes defensive, how you lose a little bit of advantage on Marius there.
Morris is pulling a bit of a gap where Jakes is actually catching up here. So he's in striking range. So just a matter of where is he going to strike.
Dirkie's not behind this battle for second position.
But as you see, Quicksilver also catching up there to the back of Jake, so you might have a double attack on second place, so you need to also be very careful of what you do here.
Yeah, perhaps just hanging back, waiting for a little mistake from these two drivers. But knowing Jake's and he's pretty patient, and he'll just wait for the right moment.
Definitely.
To take advantage.
This is a lot closer now, so he could make a move on the inside, but I think Rockstar Mall is going to be very defensive again. But it could leave him open. Yeah.
Just can't seem to get closer, but on that last lap it was Rockstar Mall. They set the fastest lap so far of a 1:35.8. Oh, very, very close. They're almost touching. That looked like Jakes went to the back of Rockstar Mel, but may have been a little bit deceiving from our view. Because I'm sure if you did, there would have been a spin.
Yeah, no, definitely, because you
I just saw that in the background there, Turkey just losing the rear of that the forward, and now dropping back, and that will be a very satisfying sight for Ross, because he has dropped back quite far down the field. So just going back to this battle between Rockstar Mel and Jakes. Still, Jakes is trying to find a way past, and Mel making that car as wide as possible. See, taking a very defensive line there.
Yeah, very. But it looks like Jakes has actually got a run on him, so this could leave him open for an attack right now. So let's see. Let's see if he can do an undercut.
Just looks like he doesn't have the pace on the straights, but looks like that the Ford has a lot more straight line speed. As he gets even closer now, and this is probably where he can maybe try look on the inside towards the bus stop here. Ooh, it's on the brakes very, very close now. The back of Mel there. Tries again, but looks like Mel's got a lot more downforce and was able just to keep the foot pegged to the floor. Jeez, this is very close racing. It's crazy how they haven't managed to touch. Gets right on the back of that Out in front, we have Morris with a commanding lead now of almost 3.5 seconds, and there we see the rain now starting to come down. So drops now starting to appear on the camera lens, and I'm sure we're going to start seeing a change in position here as the guys start thinking about coming into the pits. And this is where you can win and lose the race, because just one little mistake and that's kind of your race done. There's just not enough laps to come back from any sort of error that may occur during the pit stop. I'm going to go back to this battle here between Jakes and Rockstar. Now, as we see now, the difference, I think, in the downforce from the Ford, as you said earlier, Stephen, how the setups could be totally different, and that the setup that Mel is using at the moment may favor him for the wet. You can see already he has closed that gap between himself and Marius and pulled a little gap now on Jakes.
Yeah, so it's like I thought, he sacrificed his setup a little bit more in the dry than to have a wet setup. So you'll probably find now he will put more pressure onto Marius, and it looks like he's pulling away from Jakes. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting further on into the race to see what is actually going to happen.
No, definitely. I think we're still in for a very close finish here towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and a very interesting race, because right now the track is still a little bit dry, so the guys are going to try and stay out as long as possible. But I think after this lap, the track is going to be a little bit wet, so to carry on with another lap there, it's going to be very tricky, especially with slicks.
Absolutely, and look at that gap already between Jakes and Rockstar Mel. It's increased quite rapidly now, from just under a second now to almost 5 seconds between those two.
And as you see, the guys are already in the pit, so they are already putting their wet weathers tires on. So it will be very, very interesting to see when the top 5 drivers they're going to come in and put their wet weathers on.
Yeah, I would say they'll probably come in this lap, although I'm not seeing any spray yet coming up from those tires, so it tells me that the track is not that wet yet, but I'm sure that before those temperatures drop any further, that they will put this lap. Let's see, there we go. We see Morris enters the pits as well as Rockstar Mel. Let's see if Jakes will also dive in. Ooh! Just misses the barrier there, hits the little styrofoam wall marker.
That was a lucky one. That was very lucky.
Quicksilver Durkee pulling a Brad Binder here and trying to do another lap on the slicks. But as you can see now, there is a lot more water on the track. You can see now the spray is starting to form behind the vehicle, and he's battling to get that car slowed down.
Yeah,
I just want to go
going to be very tricky.
On board with him just to see. You can see already that shine from the wet, and he's battling to put the power down. Let's see if when he comes into the braking mark, he brakes as all he can. Ooh, we're getting the car very squiggly under braking. Does very well to slow that car down. And seems to be doing really well. But I think he's left it a little bit too late, because he's losing a lot more time. You can just see the difference in time between himself. And I'm just seeing here, it looks like Rockstar Mel has managed to get out ahead of Marius. So look at that. A change up in the lead at the front at the moment between Rockstar Mel and Marius. So I'm quite sad that I missed that, but it would appear that either there was a leapfrog in the pits, or Morris has made a mistake and that's allowed for Rockstar Mel to get past.
Yeah, I just think Rockstar Mall is probably set up for the wet weather, and maybe Morris was
Oh,
just
just so
not.
that he loses the rear end and puts it into the wall, a kiss on the wall there, and hopefully hasn't picked up too much damage. And just trying a little bit too hard there.
Oh, and then because Jake's a little bit wide.
Jakes goes wide. As both these drivers battling in the wet conditions at the moment. As we see now, Durkee coming into the pits for his pit stop.
Yeah, I think those tires are still cold, so that was a bit unfortunate.
Now we see Rockstar. He's come back into the pits, and so he has picked up damage. That is most unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate.
But who will be in front now? There we see the gap between Durkee, and it looks like Durkee has managed to make up quite a bit of time here on Jakes. So just by staying out a little bit longer, he's managed to close that out. I wonder if Jakes forgot to change to the wet weather tires. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it is.
But we'll soon see if he's able to brake from this corner, if he's on the slicks or not. Ooh, much later on the or early on the brakes, and Quicksilver had to actually jump out the way because he was unable to slow that Ford down. So fun and games now for the drivers as the rain keeps coming down and there's starting to form puddles on the track. So as soon as you hit one of those puddles, the car just aquaplanes right off. And we see Morris going a little bit wide there, but actually doing a very good job keeping the car on the track and seems to have had a lot more control now.
Yeah, I think now with a bit of a breathing gap there, he can able to back off a bit. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where Rockstar is going to be chasing PV now. So let's see what he can do from that little mistake. That little mistake now cost him the lead.
Absolutely. So Peter Brandt now in fourth position at the moment, having a fairly non-instant race so far. Doing well out in fourth position, only 22 seconds off the pace at the moment, or off the leaders at the moment. But as we saw there earlier, anything can happen. We saw a little mistake there by Mel and put himself into the wall. He picked up a bit of damage and had to go into pits to get that sorted out. That drops him down into fifth position at the moment. Durkee opting to stay out longer and seemed to have helped him close that gap between himself and Jakes, but outbraked himself down the back straight into the hairpin, and he's now just 2 seconds off behind Jakes at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one to see if he can actually catch up to Jakes and put a bit of pressure on Jakes there. Because it looks like he's got the pace to do it, so he's just got to get the car there in the right place, because it looks like he's actually closed the gap there a little bit on Jakes.
Yeah, he's just got to put his head down and concentrate and get this race over and done with. We are on lap 14 at the moment. We're 8 laps left to go. As we go back to Morris out in front now with a commanding lead of almost 8 seconds over Jakes down in second place at the moment. Not the quickest guy on the track at the moment. We saw Jakes doing a 47.3, 147.3, which was 7/10 quicker than Morris on that last lap. So
Yeah.
still anyone's race at the moment. I mean, if Jakes is putting in those times in and closing that gap almost a second lap, we could see him within striking distance within the next couple of laps or so.
Yeah, that's...
Well, towards the end of the race, should I say, because, I mean, we've got now 7 laps left to go.
Yeah, and 7 laps could feel like an eternity right now.
Absolutely. As we see Morris now coming into the stadium section, and you can just see the puddles in certain parts of the track just starting to form with the amount of water that's coming down at the moment. And this is almost turning into a Belgium Grand Prix. But these cars are quite the same as the Formula One. They do have windscreen wipers and a windscreen.
Yeah.
So they are able to race in these conditions without any problems.
And as we see there on the first corner, the puddle of water, which I think has just caught his Somnia out, so I think he might have hit the puddle there and lost.
There we see Jakes in the background trying a very different route, trying to avoid that massive pond that's starting to form on the first corner there.
Yeah, and that's him trying to dodge that. It looks like Quicksilver was just able to close the gap up even more. So, yeah, this race is not over. It's only just getting interesting.
So yeah, Morris then doing a much better time there with the 147.7 on the last lap, and it actually was 3/10 quicker than Jakes. But Quicksilver, the quickest man on the track at the moment. Oh, there we see Jakes losing the rear end, just trying to put the power down a little bit too early. And that's allowed for Durkee now to get right on the back of Jakes now. He's going to feel that pressure. So Durkee now going for the inside. Oh, gets onto the curbs there, has to lift to avoid losing the rear of their vehicle. And Jakes managing to hold on to that position. But this is the interesting part here with this tight stadium section.
Yeah, because
now Durkee will have the spray from... Sorry, Stephen. Will have the spray from Jakes, so that's not going to make things very easy for him.
Looks like in that last section, Quicksilver and Rockstar Mall have got their car pretty set up through that little tight section, and that's where they doing a lot of the catching up is in those tight sections. So, we're just seeing Quicksilver going a little bit wide there.
Yeah, I think that car just has a lot more downforce, being so low to the ground, and center of gravity being a lot better than, I would say, the BMWs.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You can just see how Jakes is battling to get the power down as he exits the corner there. Still taking the defensive line. Durkee goes on the outside, or he tries to sweep and go back onto the inside again. Nope. You see Louis really battling with that damage behind him. Good clean battle between these two drivers at the moment.
Just looked like Rockstar Mall did another mistake there, because he was in 5th place, so he's now dropped I think to 7th if I'm correct. So something happened there.
Yeah, looks like the wet condition doesn't seem to favour him, and maybe trying a little bit too hard, as mentioned from the beginning of this race, that this is where the drivers show their true talent, when they the patient guys, the guys who are a lot more patient and a lot more easy on the throttle, seem to shine, because it is very, very tricky conditions that they're driving in at the moment, and to keep their car on the track takes a lot of concentration.
No,
You see Jake's
definitely.
going a little bit wide there, so he will most likely get some sort of track limits notification, which will mean that we'll have to slow down a little bit to avoid a time penalty. But
No, nothing's popped up yet. Looks like Jakes is battling a little bit with the BMW in the wet. Because that Ford looks a lot quicker.
yeah, I think straight line speed, the Ford seems to be a lot more. Yeah, we see Jake's there now losing the rear again, and now the two vehicles side by side. Who's going to give in through the corner? They're both going to go through the corner, and Durkee manages to get ahead.
Yeah, gotta have big coconuts.
Absolutely. See if I were Jake, so maybe just turn up the traction control a little bit just to give him a little bit of help through those tight corners.
The only thing with turning up these traction controls, you lose a lot coming out of the corner. So yeah, I understand why he hasn't done that.
Well, he's losing a lot more
than losing the rear. I understand that, but it's a gamble that you take. It's you lose a little bit coming out of the corner, or you're gonna take that gamble of not losing the rear. So yeah, it's a 50-50.
So a good battle between these two drivers from the beginning of the race. Durkee opting to stay out one lap longer and managed to close that gap between himself and Jakes. Now moves up into second position. And now with the clear track in front of him, let's see if he can try chase down Marius, who's now a commanding 8 seconds, almost 9 seconds ahead of this fighting pack guy. Then again, Jake's putting down the power, managed to actually control a little bit better this time, but still losing quite a bit of time there on that hairpin as we come through this fast left and right. Down the back straight into the stadium section, and just looks like Durkee is managing to pull a little bit of gap, edge that gap a little bit by a little bit through each sector.
Yeah,
I just want to see the times here between Marius and Durkee to see if he's managed to pull back a bit of that time already. I mean, that time has dropped from 9 seconds to 7 seconds.
I wonder if Marius is just taking it easy, no risky stuff. He knows he's got it in the bag, so no reason to push the car or do anything radical to make sure he walks away with maximum points.
Yeah, on that last lap he did a 51.52, so much slower than what we've seen this evening, but you can see how that rain is coming down. That track is soaked. The puddles in some areas would definitely be... I think Jakes has made a mistake and now has dropped even further back behind Durkee, because that gap has grown quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
That gap between himself and Marius has also come down. So Durkee, sensing opportunity here, doing whatever he can to catch Marius out in front at the moment. He's only now 6 seconds up the road and seems to be battling a bit in these trickier conditions.
Yeah, it looks like Durkee actually likes the wet weather, so he's like a shark right now, hunting his prey.
Absolutely, he just seems to find a nice, good, clean line.
Yeah.
And this is where the Ford is really quick through the stadium section.
Yeah, he's been quick here whole evening right now. So
And just watch that time, the difference in time coming down. I just want to see there in front at the moment. We see Marius, and in the background we see Durkee.
yeah, they're on the last lap now, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be the start of the race. You can see now also that the sun is starting to dip down, so the track will be even
colder.
cooler, yeah, than when they started. And I think that's playing a major role here at the moment.
Definitely.
But all that Morris has to do is just take it easy and bring the car home. He's only got a few more corners left to go. You can see Durkee there in the background, closing that gap ever so slightly. Race runs a little bit wide onto the curve there. Just needs to keep it neat and tidy. As he comes into the stadium section for the very last time. And a mighty drive here from Marius, leading basically from start to finish. I think there was only a small section, or I think one lap, where Mel got ahead of him.
Yeah.
But kept it neat and tidy, comes towards the finish line. And I think we're going to have one more lap, Stephen.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 21 laps, to be honest.
So, one more lap to go. So Morris comes down the back straight. That gap has come down in further. On that last lap there, Morris did a 150.9 as opposed to a 148.4 from Durkee. So that gap now down to 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds. So I just feel like if we had another 5 laps, I think we would have seen a much closer result here.
I think if there was another five more laps, I think they would need to change their cars to boats then.
Yeah, it is getting super wet out there. You can just see the rain coming down there. I mean, that's quite hectic. So, this is the final lap, and we see Boris now coming into the stadium section 4. This time, the last time. And that gap between him and Durkee has kind of kept the same. Almost looks like it has increased a bit. So Durkee may be pushing a little bit too hard, but he needs to think about just bringing that car home. And there we go. Boris crossing the line, taking tonight's wet race win at the Hockenheim circuit. And a good old performance by him. Durkee coming home in second position. In third, a good drive there by Jakes. Not finding the pace in the wet though, but coming home in third, picking up nice points there. Peter Brandt, a well-deserved 4th position.
Definitely.
Very clean race and comes over the line in the red Ferrari. In 4th position. In 5th is BRM Marius, and battling to get that car home. You can just see, looks like he may have picked up a little bit of damage, and also has Mel right behind him.
Yeah.
Trying to pick up that, also trying to fight for that some points here. So this battle between the two forwards is not over just yet. We still have a couple more corners left to go.
Yeah, I think he's just a bit too far back to make any move.
Yeah, and I think why?
Just not his night tonight.
It's not his night, unfortunately. But finished out in 6th position, did a super qualifying. Came out the pits out in front, finishes down in 6th position after making a couple of mistakes. In 7th position is Robert. And looks like Ross disconnected. Louis down in 8th position, and in 9th, Dylan.
Wow. Right, boys. I will see you on the other side.
Good luck, Stephen.
Thank you very much.
And I think you can definitely learn from the first race. Just take it easy.
No, definitely I will be taking it easy.
All right, cool.
Thanks, bud. Cheers.
Bye.
It's just a swag.
Yeah, maar je zit maar vast. Ik was vast al achter, hij spreekt bij. Het jy gesien mis ek hy breaking point, toe ek met my kar regs en ek jou net nie raak.
So, maar dat was so